Hey, what's up guys? Spencer Rhodes here, and this is my video for the character Simon from The Walking Dead. So, I've been on the Spoiling Dead website, and they have said that in episode 16 of this season, Negan and Simon get into a fist fight, and it is rumored from multiple sources that Simon does not get out of this fight alive. So, you know, this might not be a big spoiler. It might be a spoiler that he at least lives to the last episode. I figured that he would live to the last couple of episodes, but, you know, a lot of people expected Simon to die this season just because, you know, he's one of the top 3 bad guys with Negan and Dwight. And Negan and Dwight have a bunch of comic material, so... And Simon doesn't exist in the comics at all, you know, and with all the suffering that the main characters had last season, there has to be a reward. There has to be, you know, a reward for the audience. Ronnie Hayes has said this a billion times. He wants Simon to die because it's the reward for the audience. Since pretty much Dwight can't die and Negan can't die, Simon pretty much has to die, because this is all-out war. This is the good guys getting back at the bad guys for all their suffering. So a bad guy needs to die. And because technically Simon is the most vicious of the 3, he's the most violent, he's the most emotionless. He doesn't care if children die. He doesn't care if, you know, good people die. You know, Negan sort of has his own code. He tries to not kill people, but he will if he has to. And then Dwight's pretty much, he was just doing shit to survive, and he was doing shit to keep his wife alive, and now he's a double agent. So Simon is definitely the most violent of the 3. And I find it interesting that Negan might possibly be the one that kills Simon. Again, I don't know. I don't know how Simon dies, but they are saying that Negan and Simon get into a fist fight in episode 16. And I think they're already setting this up. They're already putting this in motion because they're setting up a kind of a conflict between Negan and Simon. Because in episode 5, Simon is talking about killing everyone at Hilltop, and Negan gets super pissed and is like, you know, we don't kill people. People are a resource. You know, we don't kill a whole community of people. And then he says, are we backsliding, Simon? Don't tell me we're backsliding. And then Simon assures Negan that he's not backsliding. And if you look up the word backsliding, the definition is regress to an earlier state or do something that you had done earlier. That's what backsliding means. So unless Sky Gimple or the writers, they use that word by mistake, then Negan is saying that Simon had done something wrong earlier in the past, and that he is attempting to do it again, and that thing is obviously kill people, since that's what Simon's talking about. That's what Negan got mad about. That's why he asked him, are we backsliding? And a very popular and possible theory is that in last season, the Oceanside women had talked about how the Saviors had lined up the men that were 10 years old and older and shot them all in the back of the head, executed them. And she didn't say Negan's name. I think she just said the Saviors. And a lot of people just assumed that it was Negan's order. And a lot of people were kind of turned off about that because that didn't sound like Negan. I was one of those people that were put off by that because I was like, so Negan just lines up all the males that are 10 years old and older and executes them? There was a lot of women, so I had to assume that there was that many men. So 50 males, maybe more, that are 10 years old and older are executed because they didn't follow orders. That just did not sound like Negan. I don't know, like, it just, you know, a lot of people thought, you know, Negan like Negan probably wouldn't even go through the trouble. I mean, if they refused to cooperate, Negan would have probably just let them go or something, you know. I don't know, because I mean, killing that many of them, children, you know, like, you know, that's, you know, he considers them a resource. By killing that many people, he's wiping out half the resource, you know, and that just didn't sound like Negan's character, because Negan, yeah, I mean, yeah, he's a fucked up person and he's a bad guy and he's an asshole, but usually he does not try to kill that many people. Usually he kills people if there's a reason for it, if he thinks they're dangerous, if they pose a threat, you know. I mean, Rick's group in season 6, they went to one outpost, they killed the entire outpost, like, you know, probably 60 people in that outpost. Negan punishes them by killing 2. He planned on only killing 1. So that was Negan's, you know, punishment for that. So you want to tell me that this same character that killed 1 guy to punish a group that wiped out an entire outpost would kill children that are 10 years old and older because they were defiant? You know, that just didn't sound like Negan's character. So a lot of people are thinking that it was actually Simon who gave the order to do that, to kill all those males that are 10 years old and older at Oceanside, because Simon has been shown to be someone that likes violence. He doesn't give a shit. He has no empathy. He doesn't care if he hurts children, adults. He doesn't care. He's pretty much a psychopath. He literally is a psychopath. I love Simon, but that's because I love Stephen Ogg. I'm a big Stephen Ogg fan, and I really like that actor. And, you know, I support that actor. But Simon as a character is a psychopath. Simon as a character is worse than Negan is. So, and from what we've seen of Simon, it does kind of fit the profile for him to be the one to give that order and not Negan. And it, you know, it's possible that he was insubordinate and he actually went against Negan's wishes. But I feel like Negan would have punished him for that. He would have burnt his face, or I mean, maybe he cut his dick off or something. I don't know. I don't want to think about that. But I mean, would Negan really just give Simon a slap on the wrist and be like, you know, don't do it again? It's possible that Negan and Simon are like really close, like they were like the 2 original people or something. Like they have a really tight background, and maybe that's why Negan let Simon off easy for doing that. Or it's possible that, you know, like Negan didn't give Simon a direct order. He just said teach them a lesson, and then, you know, Simon killed half of them. And, you know, and Negan was like, "What the fuck, man? I didn't mean that." You know, I don't know. But I think a lot of people believe that Simon is the one that's responsible for all those men at Oceanside being wiped out, and that Negan and Simon kind of have a bit of bad blood because of that. And over the course of this season, Simon is going to continue to just want to kill everyone, be a psychopath, kill. And Negan is going to be like, no, people are a resource. We need resources. We need hundreds of people. We need to kill the right people. You know, a small amount of people that send the right message so that the bigger numbers of people can be controlled and still provide for us. Simon just wants to kill the bigger numbers. He just wants an excuse to kill everyone. I think this fits his character because in season 6, there was the library group and Simon just killed them. I think that was something that Negan actually ordered him to do, because I think the library group was a small group of people. Maybe like 10 people, maybe less, maybe more, give or take, but a small group of people, and Negan decided to just have them be used as an example to Rick's group. Since Rick's group has the bigger numbers, used the library group as an example to try and influence Rick's group and, you know, control them. So you know, Simon was allowed to kill the library group but still, I think how much he enjoyed it, how violent he was when he did that, when he killed those people. I think that kind of showcases a part of his sort of psychotic nature. And in season 7, there weren't any like flat out moments, but there were a few moments where Simon definitely seemed like he seemed like Negan, but worse. He seemed like more of a psychopath. He doesn't like Carl, and he kind of acts like that Carl should have gotten his arm cut off. Even though Negan chose not to do that. He chose to just he broke Rick enough so he was going to let Carl keep his arm. And Simon actually kind of acted like he wished that Negan did cut it off. And there's just a few moments like that where, like when Simon takes the doctor, and then, he leaves a bunch of aspirin. He's like, we're leaving you some medical supplies, and then he just leaves them a box full of aspirin. Like, he didn't have to do that. He could have just taken the doctor and just been like, bye. But, like leaving them a box full of aspirin, that's just like saying fuck you to all the sick people, all the people that get injured. It's like Simon seems more like a sadist, where Negan is just trying to get shit done. So I think that this will kind of come to a head, that Negan and Simon's conflict will kind of grow and keep growing. And even in episode 5, when Simon is telling all the workers to go back downstairs, and then they continue to argue with him, Simon is like a split second away from just killing one of them. He's a split second away from just killing one of them. So Simon is definitely more of a psychopath than Negan is. So I think that this Simon will continue to kill people. He will continue to be a psychopath this season, and he will continue to disobey Negan's orders. And this will be what results in Negan and Simon having a fist fight in episode 16. It also sort of kind of creates a distinction between Simon and Negan for the people that have not read the comics. It kind of creates a distinction where it kind of shows the audience that Negan isn't just like a flat-out psychopath. He's a guy trying to manage a system. He's trying to control people in his own way. He considers himself like a necessary evil that keeps the biggest number of people alive possible. And in a way, he's successful. What Negan has done has worked in a way. He has brought a bunch of people together, thousands of people together. In a way, Negan is more successful in saving people than any other character. Rick, Ezekiel, anyone at the Hilltop. Negan has been more successful at saving people than any other character. He saves people by punishment and violence and threats and forcing other communities to deliver goods to them, and then having all his people be workers that have to work their asses off and barely and get points, and they're all miserable, but they're all alive and they're all together, and it's a system. Negan, in his own way, is saving people and bringing people together, where Simon is just more of a psychopath that just wants to have the power and just hurt people and kill people. And I think, when Negan and Simon have this conflict in later episodes this season, it's going to continue to grow and grow and grow, and Simon is going to continue to disobey orders and kill people and kill people. And that's going to be what leads to the fight between Negan and Simon. And Negan is going to win that fight. I don't know how. Maybe a stray bullet hits Simon in the head. Who knows? Maybe Simon will get beaten to death by the bat. Who knows? Or maybe Negan slashes Simon's throat with a knife. Because Negan is a capable fighter. But yeah, I don't know exactly how he will die, but it's just rumored that Simon does not get out of the fight alive. Now, as for how I feel about this, I don't know. because I'm just such a big Stephen Ogg fan. I can't help it, man. I can't help it. I'm sorry. I'm weak. I admit it. I'm a weak person. I don't want Simon to die. Just like, damn me to hell. I'm sorry. I'm honest. I do not want Simon to die. I'm a big Stephen Ogg fan, you know? Like, sometimes you like the actor, or you've seen the actor before, and it changes your relationship with the character because they're familiar because of the actor. I think that's kind of what happened with Daryl. A lot of people in the first season, they saw Daryl and they were like, oh, that's the guy from Boondock Saints. You know, like, if you've seen the actor and you have like a familiarity with the actor, it can kind of change your perception of the character. You might just want the character to live because you like the actor. You like the actor's performance. It doesn't matter how good or how bad they are. You enjoyed the actor and you enjoyed the actor's acting. And I think that's why a lot of people like Simon, including me, because we like Stephen Ogg. We like his acting. You know, he's just so eccentric and kind of dark and funny. And, you know, a lot of people played as him in a video game pretty much. So there's kind of like that special connection. And, you know, I don't want like Negan to die instead or anything. I just wish that, I don't know, I do kind of wish that all three of them could live. Negan, Dwight, Simon could all live. I know that's a stretch and that's asking for a lot, but it would just be so cool to have Simon survive to season 9 or like season 10. You know, the Saviors can't all die. You know, in the comics, yes, Dwight is the leader of the Saviors when Negan gets locked up. But there's a black guy, I don't know his name, but there's a black guy with one eye, and he's kind of, he pretty much becomes high up, and he has some issues with Dwight, and Dwight leaves the Saviors and pretty much joins Alexandria. And then the black guy, he pretty much becomes the leader. I'm so sorry if I'm a racist. Like, he hasn't been in many issues, and he's not a very big character, but he pretty much becomes the leader of the Saviors, and then he tries to fight Rick and start shit with Rick, and then Negan comes in and is like, look, do you want to go back to the way things were when I was the leader? No, you don't, because you hated that shit, and, you know, with Rick is a really good leader. Rick would help you if you needed help, so the next time he needs help, you help him. Negan is able to basically get the Saviors to back off and go back to their place and leave Rick alone. This is, you know, later in the comics. If you don't know, it's years after All Out War. But this character, this black guy with one eye, I know that's racist, but I forgot his name, but he doesn't exist in the show. He hasn't been on the show yet. And I kind of hoped against hope that maybe they could find a way to make that be Simon, to have Simon get that comic material. Because he kind of had that relationship with Negan. Like, Negan, he's like, you know, you're kind of an asshole, but, you know, you knew your shit and, you know, you wanted to stay alive. I guess Simon might be a bit more of a psychopath than this guy is, but I don't know. Even if they had to lock up Negan and Simon, like, that would be great to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Stephen Ogg be locked up. Like, maybe they're arguing with each other all the time. Like, they could both grow like big ass beards and just be like arguing. Because, I mean, they're both, you know, comedic characters. So yeah, you know, I wish that they had found a way to keep Simon alive, and you know, but you know, at the same time, it's just not really realistic. Even though I want Simon to live, it's just not very realistic, and a lot of people pretty much already knew that Simon was going to die. A lot of people pretty much already expected it. You know, it was already like 99% guaranteed, even before like the first episode of the season premiered. You know, a lot of people figured that Simon would die, and you know, this is All Out War, and Negan and Dwight have a bunch of comic material, so yeah, overall I'm kind of disappointed because I'm just such a big Stephen Ogg fan. You're just gonna have to forgive me. People might say he has to die because it's what's best for the story. I don't really care about the story right now. I'm having a lot of issues with the show. I'm having a lot of issues with this season. I'm having a lot of issues with the characters doing stupid stuff, like Daryl doing stupid stuff. I'm going to make a whole nother couple of videos about that. But at this point, I don't even care about the show that much. I don't care about the story that much. Keeping Simon alive, they might as well. At least then, we got Stephen Ogg to watch. So that's how I feel. It's kind of a disappointment, but it's kind of expected at the same time. So, yeah. And again, this isn't 100% confirmed, but it's pretty close to confirmed because the spoiling dead is almost always right. So expect Negan and Simon to get into a fist fight in the last episode of this season, and expect that fight to be what gets Simon killed. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you excited? Are you disappointed? Are you happy? Are you sad? And just let me know. And don't be shy. Hit that like and subscribe. I am not going anywhere. Anyway, I am Spencer Rhodes, and I will see you guys later. Bye.